Dr. Asad, good afternoon. Are you there, Dr. Asad?
Good afternoon, Shahnawaz sir. I'm here.
Dr. Asad?
Yes, Shahnawaz sir, I'm here. I hope that you are able to hear me.
Dr. Asad, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fine, fine. Nice to see you there.
Sir.
So we'll start this session within, I think they are opening the Facebook Live. Within 1 minute, we will start it, the session.
Okay, sir.
Amir, can we start? Is it live?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Okay, so we will start the session. Welcome to another edition of Mind Sparkle Series, in which we bring eminent speakers and eminent people who have established them into the annals of professional careers, those who have built their own goal, those who have built their own success stories through their hard work, commitment, and dedication. They are a kind of a role model to us in this society. So my endeavor was to bring those kind of people before the audience who can imbibe their characteristics, who can imbibe their strategies, and they imbibe their way in which they have succeeded. Our goal is to bring such people continuously so that a kind of a repository of role models is established for the young students and professionals who are fighting it out through various examinations and through various ways to establish themselves in this life. So we are happy to share with you that today we have Dr. Asad Sahir. He has a long and illustrious qualifications to his name and a very good career in which he is going to play a vital role in the near future. You will hear his name in future also in engineering and science and technology. Dr. Asad is from a field of chemical engineering. He did his BTech from Aligarh Muslim University, then did his MTech from IIT Roorkee, and he did not stop there. He did his doctorate from Utah University, America. Then after that, postdoctoral research in renewable energy from US laboratory. He did it. And then after coming back to India, he did his research in Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. So he has a well-researched mind in which he has understood what research is, what professional research is, and how things work out, especially in science and technology. Along with science and technology, he has a broad view of the understanding of how a career is made, how careers are unmade, what are the professional careers in this emerging global arena, especially the post-pandemic world, how the job prospect would be, what would be the qualification that will be in his store. And through his lecture, he will relate it to a personal journey, the kind of difficulties he faced, the kind of ups and downs he faced in his life, and what made him stick to his goals, and what made him achieve his career. How could he become a role model for such a wide variety of people? So the topic for today is also the role of diversity in the developing of global career perspective. So without wasting much time, I would like to invite Dr. Asad Sahir, Assistant Professor, IIT Ropar, to come and address the audience who are eagerly waiting to hear from you. Dr. Asad Sahir, over to you.
Thank you, Shahnawaz sir, for this wonderful introduction. And if I just may share my screen here. I hope that you may be able to see the cover slide as of now.
Please go ahead. I will be muted.
Yes,
You will be speaking. So after your
okay.
speech, I will be taking the questions. So the session is you for the next 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to, yeah. So first of all, we would not have had this session today without the inspiring efforts of Shri Shahnawaz Qasim, our moderator today. And also responsible for the session is a very good friend and colleague from the DBT Wellcome Trust India Alliance, Dr. Sarah Haider Iqbal. Colleague in the sense that she is also working in the field of professional development as I do for IIT Ropar. And then most importantly, to you, the audience, for your time on a Sunday evening. I would like to share a disclaimer before the talk. So this is presentation is an individual opinion, and this may or may not reflect the opinion of the associations which I have or I have been previously affiliated with. So if we are bringing the topic of a university, of an organization, then kindly disassociate the institution and take it as my individual opinion. we are making this presentation entirely for non-commercial and academic purposes. So if there's a representation which has been used, then the idea is that we are not earning any money out of it, and this is entirely for the purpose of mentoring. And may I request patience with the questions, because we are having a chronological structure and the points which I'm going to make are interrelated. Furthermore, in the chat box, what I have done is that I have shared a learning resource sheet, because as an educator, I feel that one of the takeaways that you will be taking from this presentation may be best captured in a one pager, which has got links to certain YouTube videos, certain books, which I have found useful, and which will tie in very well with the ideas that I have presented over here. So to share the presentation outline for today, the whole central theme is that how important role diversity plays, diversities of ideas, diversity of cultures in shaping a professional career of an individual. So I'll walk you through what my family background has been, who are my parents, my elder brother, my school days, my bachelor's days at the Aligarh Muslim University, masters at IIT Roorkee, the first job at Bharat Petroleum, my PhD work at the University of Utah, then working 3 years at the National Renewable Energy Lab at Golden, Colorado, and then my current role as an assistant professor at IIT Ropar. Um, so, first of all, I would like to share a little bit about my beginnings. I would like to first dedicate this presentation to my deceased father, because without whose love, affection, and support, perhaps I would not have been able to achieve what I have been able to achieve through these global experiences. So on the left hand side, you can get a sense of our drawing room, which has got a bookshelf with lots of books and notes along with it. Then my father came from a very humble background, and he made his way up to the top. He had about 11 brothers and sisters. Then he worked his way to earn first an MA from the East West Center, which is a United States government program to promote understanding between various countries. This opened a door of opportunity for him, which led him to complete his PhD from the University of Minnesota in the Department of Geography, where he worked and to study the residential pattern of wheat farmers in southern Saskatchewan, which he completed in 1973. Then he worked for about 10 years as an academic at the University of Regina, where he furthered upon his research, his teaching. So his influence has been pivotal in cultivating the side of education and instilling, because he was one of my important role models who inspired through his presence to become more acclimatized towards education. Like this talk is all about role models, but in my case, I had my father who worked very hard. Furthermore, his role in establishing institutions has been extremely important. So, since his return to India in 1984, he helped expanded the Vidya Bhavan Rural Institute, which essentially is a educational institution in Udaipur, which is my hometown, where he was the director, and he led through its establishment of various departments and functions. Furthermore, even into his later age, he helped conceptualize and implement a very important initiative, which is called the Institute of Local Self-Government and Responsible Citizenship. So his idea was to educate the Panchayati Raj people and how they can govern effectively. This was supported initially by the European Union and then by the Tata Trust, and it was a very successful program which had a lot of impact in southern Rajasthan. So, education, community service, helping others are the key attributes which I can say. Although we can have an entire session on his career and what he has given, but it's very difficult to summarize his contribution in a very small slide like this. But I'll just like to summarize it by a French quote: "L'essentiel invisible pour les yeux," which is that what is essential is invisible to the eye. It's not about awards, it's not about recognitions, it's about that the impact that you create into society, the impact that you have in changing lives, which has been a major influence to me. Another thought which I'd like to bring from my scientific side is from my mother. My mother belongs from Kannauj, Uttar Pradesh, and she had the privilege of having an education in the 1960s. She studied in Aligarh. She had a thorough scientific background, pursued her MPhil in zoology, and came in as a teenager. And to summarize her contribution is that mothers hold their children's hands for a very short while, but their hearts forever. And her inculcating scientific temper, helping me appreciate science. And another thing which I would like to recollect, a Japanese proverb is that to ask is temporary, as a temporary shame, not to ask an eternal one. So you always have to ask questions. You have to think like a scientist. You should never be afraid of learning. And my mother was the second important pillar. So in a sense, you can see the role of my parents in shaping me up. So I had already two significant role models in my mother and father. Another important person in my life is my brother. My brother has helped me become, I would say, a gentleman who is empathic, who appreciated the value of empathy, learned emotional intelligence, and he has extended this whole thought process of his into his wonderful career as being a human resource manager with the JK Lakshmi Cement, and he is a very well regarded human resource professional all across the country. So his work on motivation, his work on how people should, I would say, overcome their failures, work in challenging situations, has been a very important one. And I'm using quotes because it's very difficult to summarize lives, but his role, if I could think about Julian Payne's quote, over is about that because brothers don't let each other wander in the dark alone. So he was my guiding light when I was from a little child, just rambling across books. And his role has been very pivotal also in the sense that when I was in my 4th or 5th grade, he first introduced me that there are quiz competitions. He championed for me, especially I remember this very famous quiz competition which we were doing in our class 6th, where I was not eligible to participate, but he went and he put forward that I was a talented person and I should be allowed to participate in the competition. As being a 5th grader, I participated and I won on the district level. If my brother would not have taken the initiative of introducing his younger brother and taking a stand for him, I may not have achieved that level of confidence during my school days. Also, his wife, Mrs. Shabnam Sahir, has played a lot of important role in setting up the community for the JK Lakshmi Cement. So I would say the roots are in my family. Furthermore, if I may, sorry. My school, which is the St. Paul Senior Secondary School, where I spent about 14 years of my life, was a multicultural educational enterprise where we studied hard, we enjoyed a lot, as well as we learned the spirit of teamwork over there. The central idea could be shared in the Yeats quote that education is not the filling of the pot, but the lighting of a fire. So these 14 years, many academicians came across who helped me to become a better debater, a better person who could express himself, as well as participate in quizzes. So, and it was a school which had multi students from various dimensions, from all cultures, from all religions, from different languages. So we experienced India at St. Paul's School, and this was the first exposure. And please also, Udaipur is also benefited because it's a global city, it's a tourist city. People come from all walks of life over there. So, and by nature, Rajasthan has been a tourist spot. So culturally, we are, I would say, very much prepared to accommodate diverse thoughts, diverse ideas, And this all lands up. This all helps in building the foundations. Then I have then I got selected for the chemical engineering in the engineering entrance examination for Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh Muslim University is a fascinating institution where I spent about 4 years immersed in its cultural life as an educational institution, as well as participating in a hostel life. So I was a resident for the Nadeem Tareen Hall and studied at the Zakir Hussain College of Engineering and Technology. We had a smaller batch. We had about 20 students or so who graduated from chemical engineering. We were privileged to have very good teachers over there, and teachers help you to clarify fundamentals, because chemical engineering as a subject is a little different, because if you don't have good teachers who help you with the fundamentals, who help you enrich your thought process, it's essentially an amalgamation of using various disciplines. And if the teachers put a lot of effort, a lot of hard work with us, helping us understand concepts, doing whatever they could with the resources that they have, and they serve like a candle where they consume themselves. They spent a lot of time with us, they spent a lot of energy, and they lit the way for others. And I'm proud to say that not only myself but many of my batchmates have earned reputed positions in industry, in academia, as well, have done very good. It's about it's because of the strong education that we had at Aligarh Muslim University. Furthermore, I would like to bring a point that Aligarh Muslim University has been an icon in promoting diversity. From the days of Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, he had the privilege of being associated with people like Raja Mahendra Pratap on the foundational side, as well as people like Professor Pyara Singh Gill from the physics department helped in building Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh Muslim University also had critical contribution from Sarojini Naidu. But the idea is that um, unless and until you are not able to accommodate diverse thought, you cannot go on a strong footing. I'm also pointing out to a 1897 publication where the idea of accommodating various thought processes was already available at Aligarh. So this is a snapshot of a college magazine where we are talking about that how education in England is. So the idea essentially was that if how is academic life in Oxford, how was academic life in Cambridge, as well as we also see in these 1890 publications ideas of women empowerment, like an essay on women are entitled to all the rights of men. So these ideas were very much in the foundation of the university, and they also boiled down to the university life, and we were starting to get acquainted with diversity as a thought, where you accept that they are different people coming from different cultures. Also, I'd like to acknowledge hostel life in Aligarh Muslim University, especially from the perspective that we had people coming from Bengal, Bihar, southern India. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, when we used to have breakfast, most of the students who were driven to achieve something, they would be there sharp at 7:30, having the breakfast and just working very, very hard to achieve their goals. Sometimes times were difficult, like there was a reading room where we used to all meet, and getting a lot of inspiration from seniors. I remember my seniors like Javed Ansari, Abdul Samad, who were a regular part of the reading hall routine. Also, I'd like to acknowledge my seniors in chemical engineering. They helped me a lot. Like especially, I'd like to remember many of them at this juncture, but especially Dr. Shad Siddiqui, Mr. Mohammed Irfan, who shared their ideas, helped me to get the fundamentals at how I can launch as my career. So the mentors are coming in all, I would say, in all respects now here. You have got your good teachers, you have got your good peers, you have got the hostel life also coming in the picture. And what is there is drive, is motivation, is hard work. And I was privileged to have a gold medal from in my during my studies at the Aligarh Muslim University, which essentially has served as an inspiration to go achieve and achieve further. From 2003 to 2005, I have had the opportunity to graduate from the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, in the master's program. Another very nice school. Particularly, I would like to showcase an important achievement of mine, which was the publication of my first research paper. On the screen are two of my professors, Professor Surendra Kumar and Professor Shashi. uh, both of them I attribute a very important thing is that they truly epitomize Albert Einstein's quote that I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they learned. Both Dr. Surendra, Professor Surendra Kumar and Professor Shashi were very, I would say, they showcase that how an academician should be from a research stage. The rigorous training that we had a rigorous discipline schedule. We used to work on the problem, and I was a master's student. And in a year itself, they made me capable. They unheard the capability in me that I was able to write a first author research paper and get it published in the Biochemical Engineering Journal. So, if you have the opportunity of having good advisors along your side, they start creating the fundamentals. They start developing the foundation stones, which then help you achieve further ahead. So life is, if I may say, every person has a role. If you start reflecting on the career, you have got the role of the family, you've got the role of the peers, you have got the role of your advisors and teachers. So there's a whole, if they say that it takes a village to raise a whole child. And the similar thing you can also think in my case also. Then I had the privilege of working for 3 years in Bharat Petroleum, and where again I had the privilege of working with two outstanding industry experts, Dr. M.S. Siddiqui, who had done his PhD from Leeds, and he became the executive director for Research and Development Center, and also my line manager, Dr. V. Ravi Kumar, another very talented chemical engineer who did his PhD from Imperial. And along with my educators, I was now getting exposed to that people who had studied in foreign universities. So the way that they thought, the way that they articulated themselves was trying to create an inspiration in me that I should also go out of my comfort zone. I should also try to learn new things. And this brings a very important thought on the process of mentoring, that there's a delicate balance in mentoring, that you don't want to you want them not to create their own your own reflection, but you want to basically give an opportunity to create themselves. At Bharat Petroleum, I also discovered my diversified talent. So the talent for quizzing, I now learned about business structure, then also participated with colleagues in the refinery. So an all-round development started taking place in Bharat Petroleum. I was a scientific administrator, I was a researcher, which then has helped me quite a lot down the line. So, with the inspiration provided by academia and working with wonderful colleagues in Bharat Petroleum, I then decided that why not try oneself why not aspire to go to the United States. And also, please, for that the spark was already there, because my father had been an educator in the United States for about 20 years, and then with all these people in ring along, just had to provide more fuel to the fire. So comes the University of Utah, 5 golden years and a series of wonderful mentors again. Then the left-hand side is a hooding ceremony when I was awarded a PhD. On the left-hand side is one of my advisors, Professor Joanne Lighty, and the Dean of Engineering. Now, beyond your advisor, I had the privilege of working with amazing people. One of my advisors was Professor Adil Sarofim, who was a professor at MIT Chemical Engineering, and he was a presidential professor at the University of Utah. He was one of the most important people who helped me shape my process as my thought process as a scientific researcher in a higher education. Also important in the journey was a Korean American professor, Professor Hong Yong Son, with whom I worked on how reactors can better work in combusting coal using metal oxide particles. Professor Terry Ring, who was another important professor who helped me become a better educator. He was my mentor in teaching, my teaching assistantship. Professor Henrik Leon, he was from Sweden, and he inculcated in me the spirit of collaboration. So Professor Henrik Leon was um, a professor in the University of Chalmers, and we had a collaborative project with him. So now I would like to also extend this. So earlier we were just discussing within a country. Now we are discussing collaboration between cultures. We are discussing collaboration on a global level. But the seeds are sown right from the time of the family, your exposure in school, which then helps you to access people and ask for help. Professor Milan Dev helped me quite a lot in with the oil industry, and so did Professor Vitti. So, if I can summarize it up, it's if I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants. They are all giants in the field of chemical engineering, and there was a willingness to help me out. So. One may have a perception that it is not that which community you belong, it is not which nationality you belong. It is all about that how hardworking you are, how committed you are, how sincere you are, and you will get people to come along with me. And that is where I want you to point and think about the message that things happen gradually, and you need people to come along with you, and it's all because of your mentors, people who help you succeed. So there is a lot of role of people along the way. Then also is you have to also be open to ideas. On the left hand side, it's just my poster along with my colleague Dr. Dadmir Rezai, an Iranian gentleman who was my office partner, with whom I learned a lot about Iran and the magnificent scientific technical workforce it has. In the middle, the middlemost photograph is with Professor Venki Ramakrishnan when he came after he won the Nobel Prize to University of Utah. He had a University of Utah connection also, and with Professor Bob Bird. And what I would showcase in these photographs is that the ability to learn from people, and ability that you are ready to accept ideas. And see, the point that I would like to bring about is that everybody is a learner, but and as Benjamin Franklin could post it out, that being ignorant is not such a shame, but being unwilling to learn. So you always have to have that spirit of learning, and once you find there's a community of learners, then you find amazing friendships. And I have had the privilege of having amazing friendship with my colleagues, and we had a thing in common because we wanted to learn, we wanted to advance our careers. And where in universities act as spatial communities where everybody is comes together and learns. Also, I'd like to introduce now, before going to University of Utah, I had married to Mrs. Iram Siddiqui Sahir. Another aspect that she brought into her life was meeting people from different cultures, participating in activities, learning from each other, and it starts serving as a global village. When you're going to a foreign country, then if you are only confined to the people of your culture, your nationality, then you don't learn. Then what is the use of getting that opportunity if you don't get the idea to feel that the world is one place, the idea that everybody is same, everybody has a different viewpoint. And we felt that our growing up in India, being acquainted with various cultures, has helped us being open to the world. Appreciating people from different parts of the country, we have as an Indians have got great strengths in appreciating diversity, which helps us serve hugely when we have to build relationships with others. Also, I would like to point out a few occasions also on the lower left hand corner. I also got opportunities to visit the Middle East and build relationships with institutions like Masdar Institute of Technology, and also spend time with people all around the world, have great time and share ideas. Then the last one of the last phases, the recent phases, is with working with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory is the U.S. Department of Energy's premier most laboratory in Golden, Colorado. Another great privilege to work with a fantastic team of people where I contributed to various policy documents for the US Department of Energy resultant publications. Also, I was exposed to a wonderful group of Toastmasters which helped me become a better communicator.
Hello.
Yeah, I'll just take 2 minutes, please. It may help me become a better communicator, and then I would say, learned the skills of communication, which were cemented more by
Hello.
the background in school, and where the key lesson was that intelligence, after all, is the ability to adapt to change. Now, I'm also a 5-year-old parent of a wonderful daughter, Inara. She's teaching me quite a lot. And what essentially she has taught me is that children are educated by what the grown up is and not by his talk. So you have to exemplify, you have to become a role model. So life turns full circle once again. Now, I'm an educator with the Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar. I'm a chemical engineering professor, helping to build all my ideas on chemical engineering, whatever I've learned in these institutions, helping now the next generation of students, as well as I also serve as the head professional development with the career development and corporate relations center, a magnificent place, and we are trying to build a new institution within an IIT Ropar is a 10-year-old institution, so trying to contribute over that. With this, I'll end my presentation, and I think that we are at. Sorry for going about 3 minutes over, but and I welcome questions, and thank you very much for taking the time to appreciate my story this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Asad. Thank you. Thank you very much for your professional lecture. In fact, it was quite interesting, the journey which you have undertaken right from the beginning till the way which you are here. One thing has stood out among the entire journey is the role of the mentors, the role of people who can shape your destiny. So
Yes.
you have been fortunate enough to have your first mentor in your father yourself. Not much people from our background or from not many people can give that certificate that they had a very inspiring role model in their home only. You had brother also, you had father also. So I'm not talking about it from a very sociological or psychological factor. I'm talking it from a very professional angle that you have professional mentor right in your home who
Yes.
was very educated and who guided you, even your brother. Now, my question is that if somebody is not fortunate enough to have a good mentor, professional mentor in the home, neither he had a good schooling or a good university, you had the privilege of having everything, what would be your advice to him? Can you give with your own experience, what should he do to make up? It's like the opening spell of bowling or the batting has not been good, so
Yes, sir.
that doesn't mean that the team cannot win. There is certain ways in which the team can also win. So as experienced professional person who also caters to career development center, I would like to hear your opinions so that people who have not been blessed with such mentorship can value your advice. Mr.
And
Asad.
first of all, Shahnawaz sir, the reason that because we had a long discussion before we decided to open this up, and I really get to the core of the question that in my case, I was very privileged. So I was thinking on a few terms. Now let us break down the journey a little bit further. The role of the mother is extremely important. Her encouragement that you should read, you should learn, that is extremely crucial to go to school. And I have shared a short video on Sonia Sotomayor, who was going through a very difficult situation in her life. It's a 5-minute video on the learning resource sheet. So she had a very difficult situation in her life. But what her mother did was she said that I would spend all my entire savings on my children's education. I'll provide her with the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's a wonderful talk. And if you can get that first starting point, that is very crucial. The second thing is that we should, for our children, we should always inculcate. Another thing that which has been consistent in across the presentation is that we have to encourage our children to ask questions. We should not inhibit learning as a society if we are not ignorant of a fact, as well as the Japanese proverb that I alluded to is that and if you're not asking something, then it is a moment of temporary shame. The third point which I would recommend is we have got a lot of difficulty in the society is that we access to good quality newspapers, good quality ideas, because our mass media is not inclining towards quality, and therefore it becomes contingent on professionals like you, like me, to share information that how which resources do we study, what books do we have, because they have got a lot of insight and information. And the role of organizations, like we're setting up a library, providing access to good books, good ideas, because now thankfully we have got access to information is easier, but what to access and how we could access is the challenge that we need to help our younger generation. So that is still the role of mentors is important in society. I believe that I may have addressed aspects
Wonderful,
of your
Dr.
question.
Asad. You have been very, very helpful in just breaking these questions into bits and pieces and giving a very valuable and reliable advices. I feel the audience would take it home and implement it also. It's a wonderful answer from your side. Another one question has come from a gentleman who says that if somebody did not have a good engineering college background, he's from a local engineering college, say XYZ, how difficult or how possible is it for to reach the place where you are, at least since you are a role model and you have come here, can that person also reach up to the assistant professor IIT level, and what are the things which he has to do rather than those who is from a US or from a big university, MIT or a Utah or Berkeley University tag? What difference does it make between the two qualifications to become
So
an IIT professor?
So first of all, whether you are coming from any university, one thing is universal. The day you set your foot into an engineering college, whether it is an IIT, whether it is an MIT, whether it's your local engineering college, you have to believe that the educational institution will transform your life, and that transformation comes from attending lectures, being regular in sitting in the classroom, understanding and getting the best opportunity that you have. Now let's break down a few options that we have got over here. The government of India, especially these options are now greatly available, has now helped all these colleges with initiatives like NPTEL, SWAYAM, where you have got video lectures which are recorded. So the first idea is that I'll recommend, if you are not having access to good quality teachers, the government of India is making that easy for you. Certain platforms have got easier access to courses like Coursera and Coursera edX, where you can get access to good quality material. So that's step number one. Step number two is that try to supplement your learning through an internship. And you can also go in a ladder mode. First, that even if you are in a college which is not reputed, try to get to a nearby college, do a project. One issue that comes across is that using software. So IIT Bombay has got a very good initiative on free open source software education learning, where you can learn Python, you can learn various softwares through spoken tutorials. So that can help you gain some projects on that can help you gain some experience using your own laptop or computer within your own reach. The third thing is that never feel shy to enter into an educational institution. If you can come into an educational institution like an IIT or an IIM, the way to access these institutions are that if they are public lectures which are happening at IITs and IIMs, you can get knowledge of them through the Facebook or Twitter account. Visit them, start attending lectures, and once you get start exposed, then always never hesitate to ask a professor for an internship. The worst that it would happen is a no, but if it is a yes, then it starts opening up opportunities. So never feel shy in asking for help. Is the first question, is the first advice that I like to give.
Excellent, Dr. Asad. In fact, what I can understand from this is that never ever feel shy of asking anything which you desire professionally. The maximum that can happen is that you will not get it, or the person may say no. The maximum thing which you cannot achieve in life is a failure, but doesn't mean that you will not try. So the inherent lesson what I could get it from is that you must try. The maximum that will happen is that you will fail, but after failure comes your success. Without trying you will never succeed. So continuing with this aspect of professional question answer, one question has come to me saying that suppose if a person wants to do research in the core area of chemical engineering or any higher studies, and he has a set of a mentor which he believes, like you mentioned, that you had good uh, guide in the shape of PhD or postdoctoral. How to convince him that you are really sincere and you need to work hard to achieve something for the institute as well as for himself? How to convince a mentor or guide to take under him or her the tutelage of your research
See,
as a student?
yes, thanks for that question. The first thing is that never ignore an opportunity. For example, if you are studying in a college or a school, every college or a school in their curriculum has got a project opportunity called an internship or a project. Always do that seriously, because that is your work experience, if I may say. The work experience that you are gaining on the resume. For example, if you have developed a computer code, you can share it using GitHub. Let me give an example. Or even if nothing is working out for you, try learning developing a website and share that link with the person that, sir, I can do this. This particular sir, madam, or sir, I can achieve this. Because people, there's a hunt for talent, there's a hunt for people who are motivated, who are sincere. And and even if we study the history of science, you would always find that there's never 100% no in life. The amount of trials may increase, but nothing is absolute, and that will also work in your favor. So build for example, you can build a website, you can start learning coding. And one thing that is very helpful, especially as an engineer, is that if you can learn a scientific computing language, because that comes really helpful, like Python or MATLAB, for that matter. So you can then develop your own projects. Also take use of the free, because this is a pandemic situation, and as Shahnawaz Sahib was saying, this is a period of opportunity. Many institutions, including ours, are now opening up webinars where people can participate. So example, you are interested in chemical engineering, we are having a webinar this on the 23rd, where we are talking about careers, and you can follow it on my LinkedIn profile, and I'll be very happy to share this information with you. So now we are bringing up mentorship opportunities with the help of Zoom channel also. But you should have the inclination to do it. That is the only thing. But if you search for Google search, the whole world is open to you. And regarding another point, that there are some communities where we have got restrictions on internet usage. That is a concern that we also understand, especially they are very disturbed communities, especially thankfully very less in our country, but refugee communities where access to internet is a problem. And you are basically limited by the availability of bandwidth nowadays. And because your bandwidth can help you connected with your colleagues, friends, Facebook groups are there, you just need to ask. And never be worried about that how ignorant you are, because the people, once you ask, you're actually illuminating others around you.
That's fine, Dr. Asad. In fact, we have another question
Yes, sir.
similar to this one, and it's a professional question. Since you are a part of that career development hub at IIT Ropar,
Yes, sir.
one question has come that nowadays education has become too costly. A lot of gestation period is there, a lot of investment is this kind of a business. If you do not succeed, whatever you have invested in your education, okay, psychologically, sociologically, intellectually, you can must have gained a lot, but still there is a material aspect always hidden in an education which people want to address in the form of job, in the form of entrepreneurial abilities. So my the question is not about job. The question is how difficult or how prospective it is to become an entrepreneur from an engineer or from a non-engineer, especially if you can give your examples from your field. And what are the ways in he can become an entrepreneur? What are the prospects ahead?
Yeah, there has been a lot of focus from the government of India on entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship requires mentorship of the highest order, if I may say. And a few key steps in entrepreneurship is that never think that you will be able to create $1 million business. There is a big journey when you're developing $1 million business. So start small, but start effective. Depending on the city that you are in, there are places called incubator hubs. They are in educational institutions, and every educational institution has one. So, like for example, when I came from the United States to India, I didn't have contacts. So what happened that I just visited IIM Ahmedabad and had a very nice conversation, and they helped me to get connected with people of more people. And the only thing was that if I would have that, I will not visit. I am an IIT professor. I should not visit another institution and ask for help. I would not have been able to generate the contacts. The same happened thing which happened to me at ISB, that I often I'm not the speaker. There are very few opportunities that I have as a speaker. I'm usually in the audience. I'm listening to presentations. I'm trying to network with people. Uh, uh, I'm trying to understand what they are offering, as well as I'm trying to build relationships after the talk by asking questions. So in entrepreneurship also, you have to shed away from your ignorance. Try to build your networks as much as possible. There are people, and the role of entrepreneurial communities becomes huge. If you're doing high tech, then especially with the IT sector, NASCOM is having initiatives, FICCI is having initiatives, and if you see the FICCI and the CIA websites often, and Skill India for that matter, you will get a lot of information on where entrepreneurship activity in India is going on. So there are a lot of events, but you need to know about them, and don't not about entrepreneurship. The sooner you get connected to people who have founded companies, the better it would be for you. If I've answered that question, I'll be happy to take the second part also.
Yeah, fine, Dr. Asad. In fact, you have been systematic in detailing the facts where the entrepreneurs of futures can take their inspiration and resources from. Just want to add, if you have certain further information on this regarding this Atmanirbhar Bharat and the funds which has been created by our Honorable Prime Minister for this 20 lakhs crores for distribution to the entrepreneurs, is there any provisions in that loan facility for young entrepreneurs like students who want to start their own incubators? And if you know a little bit, can you share the details of how to access those loans, Government of India?
And Shahnawaz sir, this has been a very recent change, so the information has not percolated at my level for Atmanirbhar Bharat, although I'm trying to look more into it. But there has been an Atal Tinkering Lab, which has been instituted in most of the schools and universities. So that is one thing. We have an incubator at IIT Ropar, and similar incubators exist across IITs also. And I believe that TechUp program also has funded entrepreneurship programs, also has encouraged entrepreneurship programs, not funded because, so these are the three sources. But on the school level, I think having set up an Atal Tinkering Lab would be one of the first steps. And definitely, I'll be happy to connect on LinkedIn and share more information as I learn.
So audience, you must have heard that Dr. Asad is willing to mentor you and guide you towards Atal Tinkering Lab if you want to be an entrepreneur in the making, and what are the ways and steps to go ahead. Kindly contact him through the email, which he will share in the chat box at the last end. And I will request Dr. Asad to write his email so that people can contact you, and your LinkedIn address also, so that they
Yes,
can
sir.
contact you. One of the aim of this kind of lecture series and this Mind Sparkle series is to connect actually the role model with the prospective audience so that they can communicate outside this lecture series also. So now moving on to the next question, Dr. Asad, there is a lot of things about research. A lot of people say that there's a huge career prospects in research, which we are not exploring. Most of the time, we are just going for the standard traditional jobs of say teaching or for the say working in multinational corporations. But there are huge possibilities in universities and research labs across the world. What are the future prospects in research, and is it very much available to us in India also? Your thoughts?
Opportunities in research do exist, but one thing is that we as researchers need to do more in terms of communicating the possibilities. So, in terms of our outreach, we need to do a better job in terms of researchers. With India's plans to become an innovation superpower, a lot of opportunities will come up in the high-end technology sector, and especially with the point, Shahnawaz Sahib, that you brought about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Because to become Atmanirbhar, you need to have a very strong knowledge base, you need to have a strong entrepreneurship base, innovation base, and that needs knowledge workers. And if we are in a position as a country to inculcate that culture, then we would be going ahead at a much faster pace. But we need to do, and a good initiative that comes to my mind is the recent CSIR, the Council of Scientific and Indian Industrial Research, has opened up remote internships. I think this was last June. The dates are over, but they are doing a massive exercise in terms of opening up their scientific laboratories to interns, and many people are doing internships or using a remote basis as of now. So even they are not entering the lab, but they are working on problems, and that was a big initiative from the government of India.
You're fine, Dr. Asad. In fact, the government of India nowadays are very active and lot of schemes are coming. And as you are saying that India has to be a self-reliant and a 5 trillion economy. So that has to be done fast, and that means a lot of opportunities also would be created. So one of the things which I would like to tell my audience is that please go for the information. There's a deluge of informations on the web, but always seek those information which will make you progressive and make your career goals easier. So do not waste your time on unnecessarily. The problems of our modern age is that information deluge is there, but within that information deluge, you have to take out the information which actually matters. So continuing with this thing, I would like to ask Dr. Asad, do you have any resources names, websites, or some free resources on the web, like you mentioned about one or two, for the prospective people from engineering or non-engineering people to regularly go there and access it, to open up their horizons to job and professionalism and professional career? Do you have any such resources which are
Definitely,
free and quite open?
I have, and I create these resource sheets, and which will be also posted in the have been posted in the beginning. So I develop these resource sheets quite often, and it will be a pleasure for me to share through your office. So if I can have your email address, because unfortunately I don't have it as of now, but it will be a pleasure for to develop a resource sheet, and I really wish that people should access. The government has made a lot of efforts in developing these resources. And we really appreciate the government of India for creating these opportunities. But it is up to us that we get connected. And building those connections and having the sessions with, I would say, many individuals like you really would help to build this all across the spectrum. So really appreciate Shahnawaz Sahib and the audience for asking these questions. And it also gives me a better sense of what needs to be done.
Thank you, Asad Saab. We are all ready to take the resources, and believe me, after I receive your resources, I will be communicating to you after this session, and you will be sharing it as a resource to all the students out there in the audience. Please take note of the fact that Government of India is working hard to shape up your career. Now it is up to you to take benefits, and the best way is to take those help of the resources. So another question has come to me, though it's a very simple question, but since the question has been asked to you, I don't want to disappoint the person who has asked this question, because he wants to ask from you. He wants to take your view, Dr. Asad. The fact is that I don't know, at this stage he's having this problem. He's saying that what if your parents want certain discipline to be followed, say engineering, and you want to go into a certain other sector, whom should you follow? At this stage of level, our audience, I believe, has already followed whatever medicine engineering he has, but still he wants to know which should he follow, the parents' advice or his advice, or a mixture of both, or what is the way out for this confusion?
Well,
Dr. Asad.
all the possibilities exist. Let me put it this way. So now let us come to the first thing. You will only succeed in life because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Unless and until you are committed to what you are doing. I became a chemical engineer and I continued for about 20, 25 years because I wanted to be a chemical engineer. Because there were some people who used to say that you're the chemical engineering hai, who are not aware and you should have a branch change. But I said, no, I'll do it. come what may. And I've worked hard in it because I was passionate about learning, and I had access to information that people were during. I knew that if I become a good chemical engineer, then I'll have the access to visit the world, which was in my heart, which was in my dreams. But I had all the forces in the world saying that you should do computer science, you will not get a job, and things of that sort. So that's one side of it. The second side is the practical side of it. So one is that if you're truly determined to do something, then the determination comes. But once you take a decision, then you cannot blame your parents for not giving you guidance, etc. Then it's up to you, and you're responsible for the decision that you have taken. I'll come to the second part, is that parents saying engineering and medicine. Now, when you're doing engineering, the fact is that you have to learn mathematics. You have to now start reading between the lines in physics. Do you really like to do that? Because and when you do medicine, then you have to really love the people, but see the end goal. What is happening? Do you want to work in a hospital, see fractured bones, see injured people? Is that you want to do? Do you want to see burned people? If you see no, if you have that that spirit that no, I'll cure people come what may, then you have already solved the question. Now comes the compromise formula. I do engineering. I become an electrical engineer. My parents wanted medicine. There's a stream called biomedical engineering. So you make the parent happy, and you do your engineering, and you work in a medical industry. So both are happy. And on the same side also, if parents want medicine like you do in MBBS, then there are new programs coming which is called the MD and PhD programs, where you can go on an MBBS degree based on certain disciplines, either here or abroad. So frankly speaking, even if you enter in your bachelor stage engineering or medicine, you can shift into one or the other if you want to discuss your interest. But the important part is that you have to it's your career. You have to be convinced yourself what you need to do. So I hope that it was a long answer, but you have got all options
No,
available.
it was a very relevant answer. In fact, I'm very happy, Dr. Asad, that you answered all the three parts. In fact, like a professional, you answered the mother part, the father part, and the compromise formula also, and that person's part also. So well answered, Dr. Asad. In fact, now we'll move a little bit towards your job, which you actually are doing. One
Yeah.
person is asking how to contact incubators and how to contact especially incubators in IIT. We do read a lot about. In fact, I also don't know how to contact an incubator. Is there a number? Is there an email? If I write to them, will they contact me? What is the procedure? A person who has no knowledge about incubators, how he goes about it and getting a loan or ideas or discussing or presenting his thoughts and his entrepreneurship. Can you dwell a little bit on it?
Definitely, sir. I believe that you have got, if you wish, anyone on this audience, you may access IIT Hyderabad very easily, if I'm not wrong, on a local level. IIT Hyderabad, every IIT, especially the new IITs like ours, also we are in Punjab, is welcoming people with ideas. So every incubator officer does also, in order to run their incubator center, they need ideas, they need concepts, they need some sort of traction going on. So never be scared, never be afraid. You just need to go and ask the security guard that I need to meet the incubator person. And then you go to the incubator office, you'll meet the front desk person. The maximum that they would say is that, sir, we are busy, but please come at another time. You can telephone them. And every incubator is working on public engagement. So incubators are much more open as institutions to allow for ideas, because they accept out of about 100 ideas one, but they need to listen to all the 100. And they're and the person who's visiting the incubator also knows this very well, that he has to try a lot. And unless and until you don't enter into an incubator office, you won't be able to access the opportunity. And especially for IIT Hyderabad, I'll be very happy to contact with my peers and build that connection with you, or broker the contact. So
Thank you, Dr.
that's
Asad, for your offer, a very generous offer. In fact, I will contact you to build up that resource and the incubators if somebody wants to approach us in the department and to me, and they have their email also, your email also. So we all will be helping. In fact, I remember Paulo Coelho's famous statement in that book Alchemist, if you want to do good things, or if you want to be great, or you want to succeed, it is as if the whole world conspires you to make you succeed in
Yes.
that goal. So think from that perspective, all the audiences, that if you are determined, then definitely everybody will conspire. I will conspire, Dr. Asad will conspire, so many resource persons are listening, they will conspire to make you successful. But the fact is that you have to take the first step, show your willingness, and definitely the things will move on. Now we come to the last questions, and I will tag it with two questions. First is an audience question, which is a general question, but it's a very, very important question from psychological point of view. That audience is asking, in this age of lots of distractions, you know what distractions mean, the entire digital world is now a distractions. So in this distraction world, how do we keep our sanity, how do we keep our focus on our goal? Is there any a mantra, is there any some solution, is there an equation like E is equal to mc square, such simple equations to imbibe so that we don't feel distracted? And last question would be, what would be your advice to such students, and a parting message for all the audience? What it takes to become successful? What it takes to reach the place where you are now sitting? Dr. Asad.
Thank you. So let's take the questions one by one. The first thing is digital distractions. Even I get distracted as an individual, sometimes working between reading a paper. So that's the reality of life. There is an excellent book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. Also, there is work which is going on in emotional intelligence. I think the book is called Focus by Daniel Goldman. And I'll be very happy to send to your organization's library both of them as a reminder of this wonderful time that I had. And it will be my pleasure to Shahnawaz Saab's office so that people can also start reading that. So these are the two books that I know of where they are not really looking into neuroscience and emotional intelligence. The second part of the question is in terms of that what it takes to make successful. The idea of the presentation is that every journey is different. My journey, and that's why we started from that. What were the family fundamentals? How mentors influenced? By and large, the things remain same. The role of the family, the role of mentors, the role of society, and every one of you is a unique person, is a individual. If all of us would have been similar, then we would have achieved the entirely same things. You are in a position that you can achieve much more greater. Don't limit your opportunities, and you can limit your opportunities by making fun of others, because the moment you start making fun of others as a community, you stop asking yourself questions. So that is the biggest thing that you damage that you do. Always appreciate your peers. Always say and never criticize your peers. That's another thing that I always advise. Even though you may not agree with them, because the moment you start criticizing, you start creating a wall, and that wall starts acting against you, because you at times also need motivation. And you can only be motivated if you think good about yourself, think positive things about yourself. And it is like a muscle. You have to, like you're working out in a gym, or you're trying to develop muscle. Positive thinking is also like a muscle. Good thoughts are also like are like a muscle. So have the habit of appreciating your peers. Have the habit of complimenting things that if your peers have achieved in your life. Then you start building those important muscles, and when it comes, it's just like an Olympic race. Because when the problems are very difficult, then the person who has developed the maximum muscle strength will essentially succeed. So, and you're your great you yourself are your greatest enemy. So if you are mentally positive, confident, then the world, as Paulo Coelho's quote comes, that the whole world comes to conspire for you. So you can take it in that sense. So, and sorry, I'd just like to summarize a few things that from our meeting. One is that I have to develop a resource sheet share a resource sheet, which I will, an IIT Hyderabad incubator address. Since we are on screen sharing mode, I'm not been able to type my LinkedIn ID, but I'm also available on Twitter. So I'll just type my Twitter handle, so you can follow me on Twitter, as well as I just need to search in. So once the this interaction is over, I just need to get the LinkedIn address as it is. Otherwise, so I will just request 2 minutes after the presentation so that I can give both the information to you. so that we can be in touch.
Dr. Asad, definitely your request would be honored. In fact, we are honored to have you here and talk to us. Such a wonderful session. In fact, I will tell you, two things has come out of your last, in fact, summary. The fact is that Voltaire himself said once that we are a victim of our own mind. If we want to become a negative person, if we want to become a defeatist person, we would be, because our mind would be conspiring us to defeat ourselves own.
Yes, sir.
So definitely do not let your mind be playing a victim role model to you. Be a positive role model to yourself. Be a leader to yourself. Number one. Second, which I would like to summarize the entire talk which has happened, is that in fact, you cannot lose focus. Anybody who has started late or has started bad or he has good running or a bad running in his career, doesn't matter. Once you decide yourself and have selected your course of action, and if you are really honest to yourself, definitely you will succeed. In fact, he was mentioning about building muscles. I will tell you one example of Usain Bolt, the world famous sprinter of 100 meters. Everybody must be knowing. Do you know, in all his Olympics, he has not run more than 2 minutes. In his entire career, for his all glories, he has run only less than 2 minutes. But he has prepared 11, 12 years for the 2 minutes. So for us, it means 2 minutes, but for him, it means 12 years of dedication, sweat, tear. So definitely these things are not seen. As he said in the beginning, better things are remain invisible. I am not able to quote you fully, but Dr. Asad, that was the essence, that there are certain essential things which remain invisible to us, like our mentors, our families, our mother, father, brother, and sisters and friends who helped us. They are invisible. We remain visible, but we should not
Exactly, sir.
forget them. So do not forget the investment which Usain Bolt made for 12 years for the 2 minutes of success. You also invest like that to become like what Dr. Asad is. He is at a position in which he is able to help us by contacting the incubators, by sharing the resource sheet, by sharing his email, LinkedIn address. Please take full advantage of such professionals. I'm telling you, this is a world in which you will get role models at your digital screen. But the next step is always yours. Either you lose him or you win him. It's up to you. So with the request of Dr. Asad, I would like him to type his LinkedIn address, his Twitter, and his email address so that he can be followed. I am also on LinkedIn. I will also type my address. So we all can come as a community to help each other motivate and grow together. This has been the most intense session. Till now, it has crossed 1 hour, 20 minutes. We have always finished within 1 hour, but your session has been so inspiring, so awesome.
Thank you, sir.
That we have received so many questions, and I'm sorry for those who could not, their questions I could not take. Please do visit our channel, Concept Seekers, which we upload all the videos and educational materials. Dr. Asad, please go ahead if you have any parting message.
The parting message is, see, I'm not doing a favor to anybody if I help you out, because I was helped by many people, and that is the objective of the presentation. So please do not feel that I'm trying to, that I'll be doing a favor by sharing whatever I know with all of you, trying to reach the maximum people. This is the same thing which I do in my job as an educator, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in the career development corporate center, because I have been privileged and I would like to share whatever I've learned with all of you. And so please feel free to connect me with questions. And and I'm an educator and I'm helping many people, so I may club some of the questions. So that is a thing that I may do. But please do get in touch, and believe me, this is a wonderful initiative, and please participate in it completely, and you will get many. There have been 3 speakers before me who have done a fabulous job also, and every person's story is a very different, and try to whatever we can impart to you, please take it, and let's be in touch, and wishing you the very best and all the success.
Thank you, Dr. Asad. Thank you very much for giving us your valuable time. And in fact, we are very happy to share your journey as well as the journey of so many people who, by your talk, and they will be motivated. And maybe, who knows, 5 years down the line, they would be coming here on our invitation and
Yes.
addressing the prospective candidates. So this way the cycle of progress and the life moves ahead. Today it is Dr. Asad, tomorrow it may be Dr. X, who would be inspired by Dr. Asad to take up your position. and somebody who will be inspired to take my position. This is what life is all about, and we wish everybody a very, very successful career. And please be safe. Please take care of yourself and stay blessed. Thank you, Dr. Asad, once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, audience. And I'll just be on the chat, and I'll just chat my put my Twitter and LinkedIn. So please.
Thank you. Please go ahead,
Thank
Dr. Asad. Thank you.
Thank you.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अभी भैया